Good evening, BookTube. This is Nathan, the Rambling Reviewer. I wanted to do a quick little Friday read slash watches slash unboxing video, talking about what I've been reading, what I've been watching that relates to some of the stuff I've been reading, and also show off something I got. I'm gonna start by showing off something I got. I got this in the mail today. I know what it is already. Uh, but I thought I would show it off, do a little unboxing. I ordered this off of eBay, and it is two Clifford D. Simak books, one of which is Enchanted Pilgrimage. This is the current kind of group read for Sean D. Standfast's Clifford D. Simak readathon over the for 2024. We're reading a Clifford Simak book every month. And last month, last month, March, it was City. This month's April, it is Enchanted Pilgrimage. Now, I've not really been active in the group itself, but I did read City. In fact, I'm going to get to that in a moment. So I decided to pick this up. And I know this is a fantasy. I'm actually reading the back here. Looks like there is goblins and gnomes, hellhounds, witches, elves. So all kinds of fantastical creatures. And then we got like an army of, well, one of them's a robot dude, but I don't know, I can't tell if the others are robots. But you've also got a castle in the background. Very, very cool cover. So not a science fiction story, but rather a fantasy story. I also got Time and Again. This was just, I bought them both. I don't believe we're reading Time and Again as part of the event, but I might try to ask Sean at some point if he'd like to read this, because I bought them as part of the lot. So I'm happy to have it either way. It does have a very odd cover, though. I do like it. These old science fiction and fantasy covers are often a lot of fun, but it's very strange. I mean, you got these like giant figures, and it looks like planets in the background, and then you get the spaceship, and very weird. Is that a time machine actually? Because it's time and again, so probably a time travel story. Yeah, looks like it. And it's got robots in it, and alien intelligences, which we love. And speaking about robots and alien intelligences, I finished a book. And that book is City. I finished this late. And honestly, I was thinking about just doing a video about this book alone. I love this book. This is falling apart, but it is probably my favorite book I've read this year so far. It was very, very good. I actually did a video where I talked about the first 5 stories in this anthology. This is a anthology of stories that Clifford D. Simak took and kind of compiled together to make a novel. The stories themselves were written earlier, though, or at least some of them were. I'm not sure if they all were. But it is amazing. The earlier stories, I do think the first 3 or 4 are less connected to the overarching story, and then they kind of the threads start to come together. And towards the end, when you start to really see the overarching vision from this bind-up novel, it's beautiful. It's beautiful. It's sad. It's charming. The story itself deals with. I'm not going to talk about all stories in themselves, but kind of the overarching story. My phone's sliding down. uh, Kind of deals with the future of humanity, a possible future of humanity, and humanity's relationship to other non-human entities, robots, Martians, Jupiterian creatures, mutant humans, and also dogs. Dogs who become sentient and then lead other animals, not sentience, but to sapience, rather. Dogs are already sentient. They have the ability to feel sensory feelings. That I said that wrong. Weird. They're already sentient, but more sapient, and abstract, an ability to think of abstract things like emotions and or think on deeper emotions and think on deeper complex stuff. um, and it is wonderful. It is very, very good. I really, really am glad that I read this. I actually recommended it to my mom, uh, and I'm going to lend my copy of this to her to read. Because this is a beautiful, beautiful book. I'm actually probably will want to reread this soon, within the next year or so. It is just that good. Um, there is a lot of psychological, philosophical ideas interwoven into the stories. Uh, and the stories themselves are very calm, I guess. There's no real action to them. The conflicts are usually internal or are resolved without violence, with some exceptions. There actually is, the first story actually is probably the most action packed of the bunch. Um, but they are wonderful. If you've not read this, I highly, highly recommend it. What else I've been reading though? This is the only thing I've finished recently, but I'm still reading several other stuff. I've been reading Virginia Woolf's To the Lighthouse with a friend of mine from India. I'm actually behind on this. I was supposed to finish the first 19 chapters by Wednesday, and I didn't, and I need to get back to him, and I've been putting it off. But I am enjoying this. I am enjoying this very much. Beautiful writing, stream of consciousness, writing it. I talked about this before, but it just kind of melts together everything, all the thoughts the characters are feeling, thoughts other characters are feeling, thoughts about the characters that characters are feeling, with what's going on, what happened in the past, and what the characters think about what happened in the past. And it is beautiful. It is just beautiful. I'm also deeply, deeply enjoying this. I wouldn't be surprised if this also becomes a favorite book. Orlando is actually one of my favorite books, even though I've not read it in a long, long time, and I want to reread it. So I do think, along with City, this might end up becoming a favorite book. For Giant Ape-ril, I have been reading King Kong. This is the original 1942 novel, novelization of the 1933 movie. It's by, says it's by Douglas W. Lovelace. Possibly was, part of the writing was done potentially by Edgar Wallace. I don't actually know not enough about the writing history of this. I know I've watched some videos of it and not really dug much into it, but there's controversy with who is responsible for this story. I've only read the first chapter of this, but I am enjoying it. I need to get back to it. I probably will continue on with it tonight, actually. I'm actually going to talk about the last book that I'm reading, the last couple books that I'm reading in a moment, and I'm going to skip to movies, because I've also been watching a lot of movies for Giant April. I've watched 2 so far. I've watched the original King Kong from 1933. My kind of earliest experience with King Kong is the 2005 Peter Jackson King Kong movie. And I've watched this one before too, but it's been a while. Uh, I really enjoyed rewatching this with adult perspective. It had a great has great stop motion dinosaurs. Stop motion King Kong. Both are very cool to see. The one of my favorite things is the fight between King Kong and the T Rex. It's just so well done and so cool compared to the one in the 2005 one, which I think is played more for it overdoes it, I guess. King Kong fights like three separate theropod dinosaurs, while in this one he only fights one. In the 2005 he is much larger than the three theropod dinosaurs, and the theropod dinosaurs are also very stupid. They keep trying to eat Andero even when he's in the middle of punching them. The fight scene in this between the two is a lot better because I think it seems like the T-Rex is larger for one thing, and so King Kong has to use his intelligence and his agility to kind of grapple with it and wrestle it to the ground to beat it, and then break its jaw. A scene that has been lampooned and has inspired countless other movies, other King Kong movies, also other Godzilla movies. But, and it's dark at times. Some of the scenes can be very gruesome. And doesn't play too much into the romance angle. I've never really liked the idea that King Kong has to have a romance with Andero. Giving the ape some humanity is fine. But I think this one has the right amount of that, I guess. There are parts that do show its age. For instance, there's a lot of aspects of it that are sexist, that are racist. These are things that really bother me. It didn't technically bother me here, but I did think it seemed a little bit silly, I guess. But no, I did enjoy this movie quite a bit. And again, it is dark at points that I wasn't expecting. Like when King Kong is running through the city, he comes across a train and just starts punching the train with people in it, and the sounds of them screaming go silent because it kills them. Surprisingly dark in a way that I was not expecting, but very good. I also watched I have two other movies here, but I haven't watched yet. I also watched Godzilla vs. King Kong. This is the original from 1962. This is the third Godzilla movie that was ever released after Godzilla and Godzilla Rise Again. I have also seen this, although it's been a while. As well, that's the same as this one. This is such a weird movie. It's so damn weird. It is, of course, just a monster brawl between Godzilla and King Kong. King Kong is taken from an island by some members of a pharmaceutical company for reasons, because the boss wants him. It's not really clear why he wants a giant monster, just that he wants him. I guess for the spectacle of it, but he's not really ever, doesn't say like he's in like a zoo or anything. And there's also these berries on the island. These berries that act as a narcotic. And King Kong several times drinks the berry juice or eats the berries and becomes intoxicated. Also, there's a scene where the people go to an island and They interact with the natives, who are Japanese people in blackface, and give the natives some cigarettes. And a child kind of tugs at their shirt, and they say, "Oh no, we don't have any candy," and give the kid a cigarette. Give him two cigarettes actually, which is it's hilarious. Godzilla is also in this movie. There he is on the cover. The suit design is different from the original Godzilla. He's more reptilian, which I do like. There is a part in the movie where you saw him from face forward, and he was far off, and the top of his eyes looked so googly and stupid. But from the side, he looks great. But no, I enjoyed this one. There's a lot of parts that are silly. The ending fight is a lot of fun, though. The ending fight is very, very good. King Kong ends up getting a superpower. Gets like an upgrade almost by getting struck by lightning, which, from my understanding, was a throwback to when this movie was originally supposed to be Godzilla versus Frankenstein's monster, or no, I think it was actually Frankenstein's monster versus King Kong. It was one of those two. But Frankenstein's monster would later on appear in another Toho Japanese monster movie called Frankenstein Conquers the World, or Frankenstein vs. Bear-Don. Bear-Don's the other monster. He fights a giant dinosaur similar to Godzilla, but with horns. And he crawls around. But no, this is a fun one. Oh, and also King Kong does manage to find a girl to kidnap, only for a few minutes, and then climbs up on a building, even though the building is about the same size as him, and he really should fall through it, just by the weight of it. But it leads to a silly scene where they try to intoxicate him, and somehow he doesn't fall off the building, crushing the girl in his hand. Instead, he is intoxicated, but sober enough to climb down off the building so he can lay down and sleep. Now, in the future, I do plan to continue watching these King Kong movies, and I actually have two here that I'm going to watch soon. Tonight, in fact, I plan to watch King Kong Escapes. This is the next Toho Japanese giant King Kong movie. It's another one that I have seen, and it concerns King Kong getting captured by a villain called Dr. No, who, as far as I know, does not have any connection, aside from the name, to the Bond villain. But he fights a giant T-Rex called Gorosaurus, who does drop kicks. He also fights Mechanicong. Love that. And I want to watch that tonight. I'm off tomorrow, so I'm hoping to watch the 70s Kong as well, which I remember I've seen also, and I remember I disliked this one because there wasn't any dinosaurs in it. So we'll leave that at that. Alright, so that's all the stuff I'm planning to watch. The last book I've been reading physically, and this is for Spring into Adventure, is a book that's falling apart. It's Jim Corbett's The Man-Eaters of Kumaon. It is a nonfiction adventure book. It's a series of stories written by Jim Corbett about his times in Kumaon. I think that's a region in India. Fighting man-eating tiger, or hunting man-eating tigers and leopards. And I'm really enjoying this. The writing style is beautiful, very well written. It is hard to read at times. Very grisly. It's not fun reading about tigers being killed. Oftentimes, it's unavoidable because they've been killing many people, and that also is depressing to read. You read examples, for instance, of a tiger attacking a young woman, dragging her off. She's kicking and screaming. Men watch as, because of her being dragged, she loses her clothes, and so you know that she's going through anguish, pain, embarrassment, fear, and ultimately dies from the blood loss. And it is grisly, it is sad, but it is really, really good. Uh, Actually, the second story in this also dealt with um, Robin. Robin is the Jim Corbett's dog and his relationship with his hunting dog. I'm currently on the third story. I was reading this last week, I think, and I haven't come back to it since. So I'd like to continue this, hoping maybe to continue it either tonight or tomorrow. That's all the stuff I'm reading. Physically, I'm also planning. So currently, I just started reading or listening on Audible to Titan by Ron Chernow. The life of Ron. Sorry, the biography of John D. Rockefeller. I only just started it, but I liking what I've read what I've heard so far. I really can't talk much about it yet though because I don't. I only just barely started it. Trying to read it to add something to my reading list for People for People April, which is all about reading life writing, memoirs, biographies, letters, diaries, that type of stuff. And I've been meaning to read more biographies recently also. So hopefully to continue with that to find time at work when I am doing random stuff to listen. But yeah, that's what I've been reading. That's what I've been watching. And let me know what you've been reading. Anyways, bye, BookTube.